and welcome to Our Community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. We are very pleased to welcome to our studio, working with everything going on with the hospital situation in Massillon. We've got Pastor Barry Carter with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
First of all, Pastor Carter, how did you get involved with all of this mess?
Well, I came over to Massillon probably 10 years ago with City Bible Church. It was a new church plant. And the mayor and I became friends, and then a few years ago, I became the chaplain of the city of Massillon. So been a lot going on with the hospital over the years. Back in 2011, the Massillon Hospital was building a new emergency room and needed to tear down the homeless shelter that was owned by the hospital, and they gave it to the homeless shelter to be used, and they actually provided food as well. And when they built the emergency room, they had to tear it down. So the community was in uproar, a lot of things going on then, and it was resolved. Ron Bierman was the CEO then, and he was on the radio, and I was actually on the radio at that time, and we helped kind of diffuse things, and it actually turned out well. We called it the Massillon Miracle.
Yes.
In a matter of just a few months, we found a new location, raised $1 million.
In a few months.
In a few months. And I told the mayor, I said, I believe this is going to be the second Massillon Miracle.
Happening right now. So
Yeah.
nothing happened with the homeless shelter. In fact, it became well-funded and has thrived ever since that moment,
Well,
yes?
the shelter was torn down so they
Okay.
could build a new emergency room. And there was a lot of people very angry, but you're getting a new emergency room
Yes,
for the community.
that's
So that
also
was a
important.
great asset to the community. So they acquired a hotel that was in downtown Massillon, raised the funds, and the homeless shelter is there to this day.
So it just moved.
It just moved.
Found a new location
That's right.
for it.
And the whole community came together.
You love to see that, and we're kind of seeing that right now.
Yes.
You know, at a time when it seems that the country has so many things that they choose to be divided upon. It is very interesting to see in the small communities, and I'm thinking of like Naples and Houston.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
what's happening here in Massillon. You see a community forget all of that nonsense and start working together as
Yes.
people to help people.
Absolutely.
And I do see this happening again. The building itself has an interesting history. It was Massillon City Hospital. It was Doctors Hospital. And then do you know how long has it been Affinity Healthcare?
I do not know that. Now, I know that Doctors Hospital shut down some years ago, and they moved the doctors, a lot of the people that worked at Doctors Hospital moved over to the hospital in Massillon. So there was a merger that went on then. And that was disturbing, too. I mean, they lost the hospital in Perry Township, but it moved to Massillon. And it's not quite as urgent as it is today, because with the people in Perry Township, they can either go one way over into Altman or Mercy, or the other way into Massillon. So there's still availability for them, you know.
There was a time I lived on 5th Street Northeast. You were able, if you fell down and conked yourself real well, you were able to have Mom actually pick you up in her arms and run you
Yes.
by foot to the hospital.
Yep.
You'd
Yep.
hate to see people living in Massillon City proper lose their hospital. You need to have that. We've got enough people living in that area that you can't just expect people to be able to switch. And then you think of, but what about the people who work there? There are medical professionals who I know they're being offered other things here and there, but they want to keep it too. Let's talk about them a minute. There's a bit of a talk that they're saying we would be very happy to go together and own this, but is it something with new healthcare legislation that says doctors can't own a hospital? Is there something that we're up against there?
Well, I know there was some conversation. I sat in on some meetings just to listen to what was going on and pray in support of what the mayor's initiative is. And yes, there is some things, but I know that in the meeting, Representative Gibbs' office is talking about coming up with some kind of waivers. Now, Susie, I don't understand all the details of that, but what you said a minute ago, the amazing thing is Kurt Shearing, Thomas West, Representative Gibbs' office, everyone is working together, and they're coming up with some waivers. There's some things they can do to create some waivers to be able to do that.
Who's working together on this? You say you've attended meetings with the mayor. Who is all in on those?
Well, you have all the community leaders, business leaders, people that was on the board at the hospital, physicians who are very, you know, one of the things that was incredible to me, Susie, is to hear the heart of the physicians. They care about their patients. This is their family.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're removing them from the care of their patients who they have taken an oath to do. And I think that's one of the, when I read the paper today, Kurt Shearings and Thomas Wester coming up with a bill that it would take, I think it was 90 days, that you couldn't, 9 months, I believe it was.
Okay.
9 months that you couldn't shut a facility down without a time to transition, to set things up. And that, I think that was probably the most disturbing thing when I heard what was happening, is within 30 days. Now, the hospital has said that they've been working on this, but the mayor had no knowledge.
Yeah, let's talk about that timeline. When was she told?
She found out the day of the closing, to the best of my knowledge.
Do you know how she was told?
I believe she got a phone call on that.
Okay, and it was a Friday afternoon or something like that,
I don't
or
recall
a Friday
what
morning.
day it was. I don't have all the details, but that was the most disturbing thing. If you know our mayor, Kathy Gattazero Perry, when something is coming up, she's a great advocate to find resources, to solve problems, to work for the community. She loves the community. And that was very disturbing to me, that there was no communication.
Absolutely. And why the decision to close, not attempt to sell?
Well, the hospital said that they were trying to find a buyer. Now, I have no knowledge of that. I don't know that, but that's what they said, that they were trying to find a buyer. So that's all the information I know, Susie, on that.
Okay.
And, one of the things I got on Quorum's website, and it's interesting. Listen to this, Susie. The Quorum Health, we understand the significant role hospitals play in communities. As providers of care, employees, and important business citizens, our organization is dedicated to helping hospitals and healthcare professionals as they strive to reach their full potential and better serve patients and communities' unique needs. And I thought, wait a minute, are we?
Let's get back to the mission.
Yeah. And like a lot of businesses, they have mission statements, a lot of organizations, but it's one thing to put it on a piece of paper. It's another one to live it out. And, I understand, like all of us do, hospitals need to make profits. They're there to make profits on what they do. But the thing that disturbed me the most was it appears to me that there wasn't a collaboration with the city of Massillon, business people, in trying to save the hospital and work on those kind of issues.
What takes place at these meetings? Is it just brainstorming? Are you allowed to share some of the ideas that may have come out of it?
I don't know that I want to go into detail on any of that, but I will tell you this. A lot of business people, community leaders, elected officials were all there. The county commissioners were there. And I was blessed as a citizen to see all these people working together for the good of the community. And, Mayor Kathy and I have been friends for a long time, and she has a heart for the people of the community. And, Susie, one of the things that disturbed me, along with not working with the city on this, was when you talked to, I heard the testimony of the fire chief.
Yes.
And the fire chief was talking, now don't quote me on this, but it was like when they get someone with a heart attack or stroke, I think it was like 27 or 28 minutes, they can get that person to the hospital and get them the treatment that they need.
Wow.
Now, if that hospital closes,
right,
it's just there's no way they can get those people to Altman or Mercy in that designated time. And people say, well, they're good hospitals. I'll grant you they are good hospitals, but it's a time element.
Yes.
You have to have hospitals in so many different regions so people aren't waiting for care for so long.
So when time is of the essence.
Yes, especially with a stroke or a heart attack.
Yes.
And
it's life and death.
Yes. Yep.
And it's all, they say football's a game of inches. This is a game of seconds.
Right.
Of getting people right where they need to be in time to make it in time.
Absolutely.
What about the patients? I can't imagine their mentality or where they are. You're there in the hospital and you find out, this is going to close in a month?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and there was physicians who do the stents, do heart surgery, and they were talking about, if you do a surgery today and they close the hospital on the 4th, how do you see your patients? Mm-hmm. And I didn't know, Susie, that a lot of these physicians are, they're contracted through the hospital. So if the hospital closes its doors, they no longer have a practice. And they have to recertify I think it's like 60 days they get recertified. So, if I was going in the hospital and had to have surgery and the hospital's closing on the 4th, what do they do with their patients? How do they see their patients and those kind of issues?
Well, during that interim of while they're not certified.
Yeah, I mean, if you have surgery and, you have to see your doctor 4 to 6 weeks later,
Yes.
what do you do? So those are difficult issues.
There's just more to it than you even imagine. What was the reason given to the mayor and to the city of Massillon of why they were taking this
Now,
step?
understand, I don't have, I haven't seen documents or details. I'm just sitting in the meeting. The reason for it is that they say they're losing money. That was the reason that they're closing the hospital.
They're losing money as in they're not making as much as they wish they were, or they're actually in the red?
Well, that's probably up for debate. It appeared to me, listening to information, that they have a projected profit that they want to make, and I understand those issues. And again, it's not so much the profit they want to make or the situation that's happening. My issue is hearing the information and reading in the paper is there wasn't enough time. They're not working with the community. They're not working with business leaders. They're not working with organizations to see how they could make it work. A lot of companies, when they get to this situation, they'll meet with their employees. They meet with their physicians. Now, I said physicians, but if you're working with, management to how to make things more efficient, if they need to take wage cuts, reduce their benefits. And to my knowledge, none of those things were done.
Yeah, it seems like you explore a lot of different avenues before you decide to close.
Right.
So does it appear that we, I want to go back to that Dumb and Dumber quote. So you're telling me there's a chance. Do we have a chance to keep this open?
Well, the mayor's working very hard.
Yes.
With different entities, different possibilities, and if I know the mayor, she's working on. I know she's working on a plan.
Oh yeah, we do know.
And all your listeners, I'd ask them to pray. We don't want to lose a hospital in Massillon.
Right.
Not only is it bad for the people of our community, but it's also difficult to draw businesses in and organizations. You want your city to grow, and one of the great benefits of a city is having a hospital.
Yes.
That's a great benefit to a city. So for Massillon to lose that hospital would be not only the loss of, and I read in the paper today, a possibility of 1,000 jobs, but it's not going to help the city of Massillon grow like the mayor and the city council and the people of Massillon.
No, certain things you need. You need good schools. You need good health care. There are all kinds of things to attract new business and attract new people and young families to move in and decide this is where we want to plant our roots.
Sure.
Where are you right now on this? Are you feeling optimistic? Do you get an opportunity in these meetings? Are you more of an observer? Do you get a chance to lead folks in prayer? What happens with your participation?
Yes, I usually, the first meeting, the mayor called me and asked me to come, and she said, would you open in prayer?
Wow.
And I said I would. And on several occasions, she's called me, asked me to pray. That's one thing I appreciate so much about our mayor. She is a woman of great effort, great work, but she realizes she needs the favor of God and the blessing of God to do what she's doing. So it's a pleasure being in Massillon. It's a pleasure serving in Massillon. I'm very optimistic, and I'm not. Let me say this: I'm not against the hospital. I'm not angry at the hospital. In no means am I feeling anything like that. I just want to come up with a solution that's good for our community, Susie.
Yes.
There's nobody mean here, nobody evil here. We just want a solution for our community to have a hospital that serves the people of our community.
I'm so happy you said that because I have to confess, in my head, I'm thinking of Mr. Potter on the other end of there saying, I'm closing the hospital.
Yeah,
well, that's it. So, right, we need to realize these are people, too. We need to pray for them, don't we?
Absolutely.
That they would come to a good conclusion.
And, with the healthcare situation, I'm a pastor. I don't run a hospital. With all the regulations and the new healthcare laws that have been put into existence over the last few years, I'm sure it's not easy. It's very difficult to make a profit and just a lot of things going on. But I can't really speak to that because I'm not in that arena. So I have a heart for people, at Altman Hospital, Mercy Hospitals, trying to take care of people. Costs keep rising, all the insurance issues. But I believe a solution, we can find a solution, Susie. I really do.
And to your point, let's not jump to a fast solution. Let's explore a few options first. Let's talk. What's the rush?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to get a chance to bring in Mayor Catanzaro Perry after these words. You're listening to Our Community.